Counseling Department. I'd like to welcome you to our class registration for the year 2022-2023. So it's going to be a lot of information that we're going to actually be parting on you. So you definitely need to really pay attention to the certain details in regards to selection of classes for next year. Here's our counseling department right here, of course, and it's done by alphabet. We have Mrs. Lang, who's a freshman counselor, and also I have 10 through 12, that's A through F, and then we have Ms. Colleen Johnston. She's also the upper counselor for 10 through 12, that's G through N. Then we have Ms. Anna Sprague, also upper class 10 through 12, and she has Q through Z. O through Z, okay. All right. Presentation of information. As you can see here, we have a number of questions that we've actually been receiving from previous individuals have actually been registering. So as you can see, we're going to go through this and we're going to detail this information as we're going through the presentation in terms of how to review your graduation progress report, classes, what's required in order to take for next year, what is a PLCP, which is a personal learning career plan, what classes are available, how to see your teacher's recommendation, and also how and when to submit your class selection, and where can I access the presentation and resources. So we're going to have that information for you as well toward the end of the presentation.
All right.
So coming into light, I have Mrs. Anna Sprague.
All right. So I know a lot of you have done this process before, so some of this might be repeat information, but our main goals today and over the next week is to help you accurately choose your classes for next year. So next week, when we're going to remind you of this many times, you will be putting in your actual course requests. So right now, over the next week, it's just gathering information, going over your graduation progress, going through the classes that are available so we can, as accurately as possible, have everybody's courses in PowerSchool for next year. So you all got a copy or are getting a copy of your transcript today with that packet your teachers are handing you. Your transcript is there just for your information so you can review the courses that you've taken. It's also a good time to just check and see that everything on your transcript to date is accurate. See your counselor if it's not. Another place we'd like you to review your courses is your graduation progress in PowerSchool. Hopefully you all know how to access that, but there's literally a tab titled Graduation Progress in PowerSchool. And we really like that page because it's a nice visual of what's required for graduation. And it fills in the first column, classes you've already completed, and the second column shows classes that you're taking currently. And again, that's broken down by what you're required to take for graduation. So it's a good way to review what you need to take and what you've already completed. All right. So one really important step in this whole registration process for next year is that one-on-one meeting that we get to have with each of you to go over your classes for next year. So those are going to start in February. So we are asking you to put in your course requests before then, but when we meet with you one-on-one, that PLCP, Personal Learning and Career Plan meeting, we will review with you the courses you've taken, and we can make any necessary updates during that time. So don't worry if there's some questions, if you've got some special circumstances going on with your classes, or maybe there's a class that you need to retake, we will hash all of those details out with you when we meet one-on-one. So again, those are going to start in February, probably starting with juniors, then sophomores, and Miss Lane will meet with all of the freshmen as well. So know that those meetings are coming, and that's a very important piece. The form that you see on the Google presentation right now, this is a form we really like to use in counseling. And this is something you'll probably see during that individual meeting, because this is also a nice visual of the graduation requirements. Now, this form kind of shows you when classes are typically taken by grade, but it's not required that you take all of your courses in that order. So it's okay if your graduation plan looks a little bit different. Now we're going to show you where this whole presentation is posted, so you can also download all of these forms if you want to use them as well, okay? So that's going to be on our counseling page, but we'll refer to that at the end. We also put a slide on here so that you can get an idea of what a typical sophomore, junior, and senior schedule looks like. So I'll have Ms. Gillum click on one of them. So for instance, if you're a current freshman, you would click on the current freshman box, and then it's going to show you what a typical sophomore schedule includes. Now, most sophomores or all sophomores are going to take English 10 or English 10 honors, some form of math, typically a science class, and usually a physical science class, world history in some form, and a couple of electives. So this is just a general idea. And when we meet with you all next week, because we're going to see you all again in the library next week in smaller groups, we're going to give you some more reminders about what you will need to take the next year. So it's okay if you don't know it all now, but we just ask you to start doing your research a little bit so that you are ready to put your course requests in next week accurately. All right, so another form included in your packet is the list of courses that are available for selection for next year. Now, this course selection form is not the be all end all, and we don't guarantee that classes are offered, but this tells you what is available. And so we want you to go through this form and start identifying the classes that you need to take and want to take next year. Ms. Gillum will talk a little bit about teacher recommendations, but we do want you to carry these packets with you to classes over the next week, because your teachers are going to talk to you about these classes. You probably have questions about what are my English options for next year and what's the difference in these courses. English teachers will talk with you about that. So make sure, we want you to carry these packets, but do take some time to thoroughly look through that form and go over what's available to you, okay? And you'll find on there any of the courses that are highlighted in blue. That indicates that there is some sort of a video or resource that teachers have put together to give you more information about those classes. So we've got this form posted all over our counseling webpage. It's in this presentation on our website as well. So go check that out and click on those blue links to get more information about those courses. All right, so this is just kind of a breakdown of the core classes that are available. Again, this is another place you can just click in and view some of those videos to get more information. But again, carry your forms with you over the next week. And if you have questions about the core classes, talk with your teachers, ask them those questions. They'll be the best ones to answer those questions and let you know what those classes look like for the next year. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about electives because it's been a long time, I feel like, since I've said this, but I'll say it a lot. Our schedule is student driven. So when you think about your core courses, lots of times you may not have as much, everybody has to take English 9, everybody has to take English 10. But truly for electives, the electives that we offer are driven by the requests that everyone makes right now. So when you put all these requests into the computer, I take all of that information to see what courses are we going to be able to offer, how many sections are we going to offer. I'm going to use Mr. Weaver as an example because he's back there, right? He's teaching forensics and advanced forensics. So we look at, this is how many students requested forensics. This is how many sections we're going to offer, take that number divided by 30. Did we get enough students to request advanced forensics so we can offer 1 section, so we can offer 2 sections? So when I say our schedule is student driven, that's what it means. It's based off all of these requests that we get right now from all of you to determine what classes we offer and how many sections. So if you're like, oh, Miss Gillum, why am I in, insert class name here, right? Like, why am I in weight training? Well, it's because you requested it last year. And maybe you want to switch from weight training to ceramics, but there isn't space in ceramics. That's because truly we build it so that there's space for the requests that we receive. So I'm probably going to say that like 3 more times, but This page, just like the one before, has the information for all the different courses. So if they're highlighted in blue, there's a link to more information. But I'm going to look at, I want you to hold up your packet right now. Everybody, I want you to put your packet in your hands. I want you to look at it, and I want you to say, I will do my best not to lose you. Tell your packet that right now. Yeah, I know. In the classrooms, tell your packet right now, I will do my best not to lose you. Okay. You need these packets for multiple days. I know that is, full disclosure, I lose my phone like 4 times a day. So I get it that it is hard to hold on to things, but this packet, it has your transcript, it has your course request sheet, it's got e-learning, it's got Hutch. So you're going to do your best not to lose it because you need it next week. And if you have it, it's going to make your life so much easier next week. But if you look at the back, I'm going to highlight some of the different things that there are for you to look at for electives. So we have an amazing art department here, you guys. Those of you in the art department know this. We have an amazing art department. Something I'm going to highlight in the art department is if you're interested in taking jewelry, there's 6 different jewelry classes that you can take while you're here at West Valley. So when you look at your transcript, when you're thinking about what course you're going to sign up for, it's important to look at what courses you've already taken. So if you've already taken jewelry design beginning 1A, then the next jewelry design class you're going to sign up for is jewelry design beginning 1B. Then it goes into jewelry design intermediate 1A, 1B, jewelry design advanced 1A, 1B, because there's 6 courses that you could take over the time that you're here. The art department, all of those blue links go to the same kind of, it gives you a general description of all the different courses that there are, but we've seen that's one thing that kind of can confuse kids. I loved ceramics when I was in art. I dropped out of math and took ceramics when I was in high school. So I didn't like drop out. That sounded really bad. I just stopped taking calculus so that I could take ceramics. But there's 6 different ceramics classes you could take. So you got to look at what ones have you taken and what ones do you need to take. Music. There's a couple things to note about music. For the past couple years, we've been able to continue offering choir, but it has been at late trip. So I noted that on here. There's a few courses on here that you have to audition in order to get into. So if you're in music, this will probably make more sense to you, right? But concert versus chamber, you have to audition. If you take jazz band, you have to be enrolled in another band. Just so you know, there are a few classes on here that don't require any previous experience. Steel drums, guitar, no experience needed. You can just join those. Most of the band classes are also year-long classes, right? If you sign up for concert band, you're signing up for the whole year. So when you go in to put your course request, you'll have to note that. Okay, next one, world language and physical education. You can repeat physical education classes. That's something to note. Same thing with world languages though. You want to make sure you're signing up for the right sequence of the class. We offer multiple years of all the different classes. So you want to sign up for the right sequence. Those are all year-long classes. And another thing at the bottom of your course request sheet, there's like a little key. Anytime there's a $sign next to a class, that means there's a course fee associated with it. So many of our electives have a course fee associated with them for language classes. They often will do cultural events, or sometimes we used to back in the before times take field trips, different things like that. Okay, I think that's everything for that one. Most of our elective classes fall into the CTE category. And so career technical education. So when you get a link to this slide, I'm just going to show it to you real quick. This blue hyperlink here takes you to the district-wide CTE page, which gives examples of all the different career clusters and the career pathways. So if you wanted to look at a course pathway for health science on the CTE page, it'll show you all the different pathways and courses that you can take. And it'll essentially like map out all 4 years for you on that website. So just as a side note there for that one. So different classes that we have, there's some introductory classes that we have. We're gonna offer new for 9th and 10th graders, a life skills and employability class. There's a class Miss Galloway has taught in the past called Innovation and Inquiry. If you're a junior and a senior and you're like, Miss Gillum, I need a life skills and employability class, that class is called work-based learning. So if you are like, I need a life skills and employability class as a junior or a senior, that class is called work-based learning, so you can sign up for it there. Our biggest pathway, and just as a little side note that you guys don't want to know this, but a few years ago when we started building up our CTE clusters, we built it based on what careers students said they wanted to go into post West Valley. And the two biggest careers our students said they wanted to go into were health sciences and STEM. So that's really where we've been working to try to add more classes that are available to you. So in the health science pathway, you can see we have lots of classes in there for you to sign up for that are offered here. And there's other classes at Hutch that we've had kids take too. For STEM, Mr. Skur teaches both engineering classes and computer science classes. And then he also has the Autodesk Inventor class. That's a 3D modeling. Again, there's links there so you can look at it. Also, if you're a junior or a senior and you're interested in aviation, Mr. Stagg, this is the second year now, has been able to offer an intro to aviation with private pilot ground school included. It's a year-long course, but it's really amazing. That's a huge need in the industry that we know both here in Alaska and throughout the country, really. So that's a super cool class we've had. Mr. Merritt teaches all the arts and audiovisual courses. So there is a new foundations class that ninth graders this year have been taken, but all the other classes are available to other students. And again, there's a 1A and a 1B course. So if you've already taken video production 1A, then you would want to make sure you sign up for 1B. Miss Mine came back this year. So we have culinary, which falls under hospitality and tourism again. So again, if you'd taken some classes before or taken some classes this year, you can look at that. And then we also have our ROTC program on here, the year-long course at the different levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4, drill and ceremony. And then we've also offered in years past, and this is again, where it's student driven. If we get enough students to sign up for a course, we can offer it. Mrs. Powell has taught a mediation course before. If we have enough students sign up for it, we could potentially offer it again. There's a seniors only section, high school internship, student aid, tutoring assistant, and an excuse period. So seniors only can have one excuse period each semester. As a side note, if you're a junior and you're like, Miss Gillum, what do you mean seniors only? I'm a student aid or a TA right now. True fact, you can totally be a student aid or a TA right now. But the thing to note is that over the course of your 4 years, you can only earn 1.0 credit as a student aid and 1.0 credit as a TA. So if you've already taken 2 semesters of being a student aid, so you have that 1 credit, you can't do that again next year. So I'm planting a seed in your brain right now. So you can be like, I need to be a tutorial assistant next year. And I think that's it. I'm going to look over here to see if I missed anything. Okay. One other thing I want to note, there's all these elective courses on the back of your sheet, but there's also a ton of elective courses in the core content areas too. So I highlighted in here, even though like maybe you love English, you can take additional English classes. You don't just have to complete your 4 years of English. If you're like, I want to take professional writing and beginning journalism and creative writing or whatever it might be, you can take more classes in the core content areas too. I know Ms. DeMario's Global Diplomacy and Model UN, that's an elective class. I'm pretty sure it's repeatable. I'll double check that. Psychology, AP psychology. So there are lots of other elective courses. If you're looking at going into a health science, I mean, human anatomy and physiology and basic intro to basic pathophysiology and AP bio might be what fills your schedule. So I just wanted to highlight that in addition to the electives on the back, there's also a lot of electives within the core that you can sign up for that will highlight when we do registration with you as well. Okay. Teacher recommendations. So you have this packet that you've just promised to do your very best not to lose. That was good. It knows you care about it and that you're going to do your best to not lose it for a whole week. I mean, it's a long time for anything to not be lost. What you're going to do with that packet is you're going to look through it. Maybe your parents are really interested in it. Maybe they're not. Maybe when they ask you every day, what did you learn today? You can be like, well, Miss Gillum talked to me about this packet. So there's something instead of just a shrug, which is what I get from my kids every day. I pick them up in the car. The next thing is though, you're going to talk to your teachers. So your first semester teachers made recommendations for what they thought the next course pathway would be for you in your core courses. That information is going to magically appear when you're doing your registration, when you log into PowerSchool and we do course registration. If you were recommended for, maybe you were recommended for Algebra 2 next, right? Next to Algebra 2, you're going to see the teacher recommendation, but you're also going to take this packet to your current math teacher and say, hey, can you help me try to figure out maybe what math class I should take next? Or maybe you're going to take it to your English teacher right now. So they'll be able to talk with you about that. I think that's actually the only thing I was going to say about that. That might be it. One tricky one. Ooh, this is a tough one. Ninth graders. Not all of you have a social studies teacher right now. So you might need to, if you are in Alaska Studies right now, awesome. You can talk to that teacher about, I don't know why I'm looking at the microphone right now, like it has a camera in it. You could talk to your Alaska Studies teacher right now if you do have Alaska Studies, or go back to your last semester Alaska Studies teacher during passing time, during lunch, and you could check in with them about what recommendation they would have for you. Did I cover all of it? Okay, good. All right, here we go.
Course class extras. On top of what Mrs. Gillum had already mentioned in regards to you making your selection for electives, we have 3 different opportunities for you. First, with e-learning, that's online learning. So if you would like to actually expand that to do something online instead of doing it in the brick and mortar in class, you can actually access it in order to do that. There's Hutchinson High School. So if you're looking at career pathways, I'll give you a couple examples, like welding, or there is pharmacy tech, or if you want to do small engines, then consider that. But also remember, there is very limited number of available spots available, but that is an opportunity for you. And North Star College, how many juniors we have in here? How many juniors in the audience? Lots of you. Okay, so this is a great opportunity for you also to jumpstart your college career. You can obtain high school credit as well as college credit. Once again, high school credit as well as college credit. But the application deadline is the 28th of this month. So if you're interested in it, be sure during the conversation that you're having with your counselor to indicate that you're interested in North Star. Now, amongst all of these course class extras, remember this, your electives should be primarily the electives at West Valley, The reason why we say that is because if these opportunities here aren't available to you, want to make sure you have your courses available to meet your graduation requirements, and also looking at career opportunities as well, but mostly your graduation requirements. So primarily, you need to actually pick 6 classes, electives, here at West Valley. Then we'll look at your sheets that you submit to us for e-learning, Hutchinson, and North Star College. Other extras, the Alaska Performance Scholarship, APS. How many of you actually are familiar with that? Heard of that? Awesome. This is where your brain power takes over and you earn extra money just because of your brain right there, utilizing that knowledge right there. So that's a good way in order to actually to help you finance your college opportunities, going to the University of Alaska, actually to go to any university here in the state of Alaska. NCAA, student athletes. Do I have a show of hands? How many student athletes I have in here? Okay. So this is your opportunity to actually to let us know, and it's your responsibility to let us know if you're a student athlete, there are certain courses that you need to take to meet NCAA eligibility in order to play at the next collegiate level. So be sure to mention that to your counselors when you're sitting down and meeting with them. Alaska Career Information System, the Access Program. So this is the way we found out in terms of what your interest is. Also to find out who you are as a person, to see what particular career aspects or aspirations that you have you want to go into. So this is what the Access program is about. And so we'll actually be going through that with you so you can see whether or not your classes that you're taking are matching up to that possible career opportunity that you're looking into. Registration day. This is going to be broken down into, as you can see, the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. So these are the dates where we'll actually be meeting with you. And let me hammer this home to you. Chromebooks. If you have your Chromebooks, you need to bring them. And also your course request forms too. Mrs. Gillum had asked you to recite, say what, when you were holding this up?
I will try not to lose you.
I will try not to lose. So be sure to bring that with you. And also we're going to meet down here in the library. And the teachers actually release you from class and where to turn in your register. Okay. Save the dates. Once again, let me wrap this up for you. Tuesday, today, we went over just going through a Zoom presentation in order to hand you the forms out to you and explain to you just in general in terms of what the registration process would be like. So next week, Tuesday through Thursday, January 25th through 27th, students will be guided in inputting your course selection into PowerSchool. Okay. Some of you already have a hand on this technology, and that's cool. Okay. That's really cool. Tuesday, February the 1st, that's when we'll have our individual learning and career plans, the PLCP. That's where I get an opportunity that is to sit down with you, or Mrs. Sprague will sit down with you, or that is Mrs. Lang will, or Mrs. Johnson. We'll go over what it is that you're planning on doing to foresee what's going to happen. If you're a junior, you're going to be a senior. If you are a sophomore, then you're going to be a junior, and how that's going to play into the big picture of your education. The information, I mentioned it early on in terms of the resources. We have our website. How many of you actually have accessed our counseling website? Come on. Okay. Now I need you to make a pledge to me. I will access the counseling website. Can I hear you? Okay, I'll accept that. Okay. All right. So be sure we have a lot of great information that's there for you. And so access that, but we'll actually be going through that, reiterate a lot of details with you. So with that being said.
Yeah, so just to recap, so you have this packet, you're going to keep it for the next week. You're going to talk to your teachers. You're going to show it to them. Teachers might share kind of general information in class about the different courses you can take. And then on the 25th, 26th, and 27th, throughout the day, so like first period, it may be freshmen with last names A through E, that we're going to have you come down to the library and input your course selections into PowerSchool. We're hoping it won't take the whole class period, but we honestly have zero knowledge of how long it's going to take because we haven't done it this way in a while. So the next step when you think of that is you're going to take this piece of paper and you're going to have stuff written on it, selected, highlighted, and you're just going to input that information into PowerSchool. February 1st, then that's when counselors will start calling you down by one. So you might get a pass delivered to your, PE class to have you go to the counseling office to meet with your counselor to do your PLCP. So that's your kind of last step of that, is to make sure that they have everything correct. They know what next steps or next plans might be. So make sure that they're doing everything they can to support you. It's quiet in the library. I'm looking to Miss Lane to see if the chat is quiet. The chat is quiet. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to mute here.